Hi guys, welcome to this week's video. So guys, for this week we've got a bunch of small projects, but the main project will be the barn doors. We're going to start cutting the shiplap. As you know, I don't have enough wood to finish the two doors. I've got enough to finish one. And we're going to cut the shiplap at least on what we got, and then we'll wait on the customer to bring some more wood. It's Oregon pine, and it's reclaimed Oregon pine. So you'll have to find somewhere some more floor planks, floorboards that's longer than 2450 so that we can complete this project. Then another thing we have to do for Sasha, my daughter, I have to make some groom buddies. We used to make the groom buddies from 110mm stock. Now one of our customer asked if she can have some that's 150mm long. So we're going to change the design a bit, make it longer, and see if we can make that for her. Then I bought also a wine rack. It's a beautiful wine rack, and it's solid oak, or most of it is solid oak. And I bought this just out of principle. I don't drink wine. My wife drinks wine now and then, and it's just they wanted so little money for this wine rack that it was, for me, it would have been a waste not to buy it. I bought the wine rack for 1,500 rand, which is ridiculously cheap for solid oak. It's got space for 48 bottles of wine, and then it's got a shelf on top. I'll show you what it looks like when it comes. I just would like to sand it down. The old people used to, this was made in the 70s somewhere, and they used to put a varnish on it that made it yellow. And I like oak natural color, so we're definitely going to sand it down and then put some Nova polyurethane or something on it, a matte color or something. We'll see once we're done sanding, and give that a facelift and then use it in the house. Something else in the shop I definitely need to do is a bit of maintenance on my tools. I'm going to put out one full day just to do some maintenance. For example, my thicknesser is in an absolute state. It's dirty, it's grimy. So I'm going to degrease the whole thing, clean everything, and then re-oil my thicknesser as well as my table saw and my bandsaw. I really want to do that. Usually I will do this in December months, in my December holidays. I'll upgrade my shop, or shall we say just clean and service everything. But I feel I have to do it this week, especially my planer. Then I've got 3 pieces of Kia top that I must put through the planer for this week. And unfortunately my planer blades are blunt after this Oregon pine from the barn doors. It really ate up my blades. So I asked Rob, and Rob offered. He said yes, we must come put it there through his machine. He bought a beautiful Felder machine, and his thicknesser and surface planer has got a conical blade. So I would love to see this machine in action. So that's one of the things we're going to do. I'll show you what they look like once we come back from there. Then another thing in the background that's going to happen, I'm getting the guys that does the trusses for the addition to the house. They must come measure and do everything so that they give us the quotation and the plans for the 2 sets of trusses we must do. Because of the addition, we're going double story, if you don't know yet. And my existing roof needs to be adapted, and then of course the new building itself will have scissor trusses on top, open trusses, and so they must come do their measurements and drawings and stuff. So that's also going to happen this week. So it's going to be a busy week, but you're not going to see much of it, but I'll show it afterwards. I'll show as much as I can to you and show you all the updates and upgrades. Let's get it started. So guys, to cut that shiplap now, what I've done is I've set up a sacrificial fence on my table saw fence, and that's where these Milescraft clamps come in very handy. No clamp in the way. In other words, when you do that, there's always the clamp there in the way. These things are really worth it, and they're not so expensive actually. So dado stack setup, it's just over 5 millimeters depth that I'm going to cut, because my wood is not I don't have much wood and I want to save as much as possible, so I make the laps as short as possible. The idea what I want to do is that. So once I've cut this data out and that one out, the two of them will then move into each other, and then doing it like that will defeat the whole purpose. So my idea is then to put a space of about 1 millimeter in there when I fix them together, and that will leave then a little gap of 1 millimeter. So I don't know if you can see that. Let me just move it closer to each other. It won't touch on this side, it won't touch on this side, and then the center as well. There's a little millimeter gap there as well. So when it comes to expansion and contraction, hopefully this will minimize it quite a lot. I've got a bunch of them to cut now. I've cut one just to show you what it's going to look like. So that is now one full length that I've cut. And let me cut a whole bunch more and see if we can pack one door and show you what that looks like. So friends, that's now all the shiplap for one door cut. I only got 3 boards left there on the end, and the customer must bring me some more. So what's happening here is, like I told you, the door is wide, 1.1 wide, 2450 in length. Those massive doors. What I want to ask you guys is please comment and reply, because I won't be gluing this or putting this to the frames before this weekend. Is how do I fix this to the frame? What's the best way to do it? Give me some suggestions. Because my idea is, if you look at the frame, this is the other frame. If I put glue just on the ends, the center and the other end, and then nail or screw them on the 3 spots, will that allow enough for movement? over seasons. Remember, I'm going to leave 1 mm gaps between every board. So that should then, in theory, give me about 20 mil overall from left to right in movement or allowable movement. So what I want to know is, how do you suggest I fix this on the 3 spots down there that will still allow movement? Or is it really necessary to allow movement? My idea is, if I put glue on the 3 spots, top and bottom and center, and then screw them down, what's the worst that can happen? With a 1 mm gap in between, of course. If it really expands so much, will it just break the glue joint and still do what it wants to do, but the screw will hold it in place? I'm not very fond of just screwing it or just nailing it, because I don't know, if it contracts too much or shrinks too much, then you're going to sit with loose boards on the door. So I don't know if there will be so much movement. Remember, the thickness of the actual boards on top is 18 millimeters. So I don't think that is too much. So I don't think movement will be so much in the end. So please, guys, comment, tell me what you think. What is the best way I can fix this to the frames? So guys, another quick little job. We've put that aside now and we'll wait for the weekend or until the customer brings more wood. Is a quick little job, especially if it's for family or, in my case, your daughter. She wants 6 groom buddies quickly, but there's a difference. Usually I made the groom buddies 111 or 110 millimeters long. She wants to change it up now and make them 150 millimeters long. So I'm going to use this very ugly piece of yard that I got from my lumber yard. I don't know if you remember, so 2 weeks ago, the wood that we got, as you can see, it's really, that side is something like 55, here it's 42, and there it's 36, I think. So I'm going to see if I can get some 40 millimeter stock on this end out and quickly make 6 groom buddies that is 150 millimeters long. So guys, this is the thickness planer. I really took some degreaser and just degreased the whole thing everywhere, especially the legs where the dogs run past once they've been in the swimming pool. They really ruined my planer. It was dirty, it was full of grease, because every time I'll just oil the posts and continue working. And it really started looking horrible. So I took the degreaser, degreased the whole thing, cleaned up everything I can, if I could, and then I re-oiled everything. So she looks good, and we can continue working with her again. I'm very happy with this machine. It's one of my best machines I've got. And then another thing, guys, the key art boards that I told you about, the customer glued it up in strips. And there's actually 3 boards. And the 3 boards wasn't the same thickness because I need to laminate them together for him to make one tabletop. So we've put them through the planer by Rob. And it's really, I wish there was a way I can make you feel this. It's so smooth. That conical blades on Rob's machine is absolutely amazing. I'm guessing this is close to a 220 finish on this, so there won't be much sanding left. Depends on how well we glue it. One problem Rob has definitely got on his machine, he's got snipe. I don't know if you can see there. And all 3 boards has got that on the ends on that side. So we'll have to sort that out for him. But these boards came out beautiful. Next week we'll glue them together with some dominoes and make it the top. So guys, in the beginning of the video I told you about the little wine rack I bought. So it's got space for 48 bottles of wine and the little drawer on top. And as you can see, I just started sanding just to see where I've got solids and where I've got laminated woods or veneered woods. And the whole front of this, the top, the back, the drawer face and all the fronts is all solid oak. But this on the end, this panel and the panel on the other side, that's veneered oak. So I'll have to be very careful when sanding here. My wife started sanding because she's quite excited about this. And as you can see, the yellow I was talking about, it really hides the oak. So we're going to sand it down to clean oak. And then we also decided we're going to Rubio this. With Rubio monocoat, it will outlive us, that's for sure. And maybe my daughter will use it one day. But it's a beautiful little rack, wine rack, and I think it's going to come out beautiful. You can look forward to this project.